It's Thor Thursday, baby. How was your day? Going to talk about, I use a fancy word here. Boom. You're like, Jonathan Fibonojji, that is not a fancy word. There you go. You know, I think I'm just more comfortable as the director and not so much in front of the camera. Of course, I love photography, kind of putting together a documentary on the things that I care about and hopefully tell some stories, the Durango Diaries. So here you go, Thor Thursday. How was your day? What did you do today? And did you make a difference in somebody's life? And I'll tell you about my day. Oh, by the way, if you're new to this channel, Jonathan Fibonojji. I say that like my grandma used to say my granddad's name. He used to say, well, they're both passed away. I was raised with my grandparents in Duncan, Oklahoma. We were the Duncan Demons, very similar to the Durango Demons. Full circle, baby, 360 on the holla. You're like, holy shit, Jonathan Fibonojji. How do we give this raven, this raging Cajun, $85? Well, it's real simple. Just go to PayPal, put americano417@gmail.com. In fact, a raven just bought me coffee. A fellow raven. Here you go. It's getting dark, the end of the day. So here's the fancy word I promised. It's called impermanence. It's kind of a wabi-sabi. Google that. Wabi-sabi. What the fuck is wabi-sabi? Well, in one aspect, this is wabi-sabi because that tree will not be the same way in a year, nor will the snow behind me. It's going to go night-night to Jesus. And in fact, I just saw when that raven, and I call homeless people ravens just because I think it's more respectful. You know, all people are created in the image of God, and we all have different arts and maybe artism, and we all use different ways of expressing ourselves. And I use words, niggas. Like Jonathan Fibonojji. Let's talk about impermanence. Well, impermanence is like that. The raven. And who are the ravens? And you know, let me tell you how I started my day. I woke up on Manna Mountain, and we had gotten a dusting today. Today is Thor Thursday, February, what do you want to call it, 22nd? Look at that. So we're kind of ending the day, but on Manna Mountain, where I camp, I've been homeless for 3 years. This is my third winter in Durango. Second year because I did that road trip, and you know, that's when I learned pretty quickly that being a CEO for 10 years and running my own company really puts you at a disadvantage when you're entering the workforce at 40, 41, and how there is a new epidemic called homelessness, and the new male homelessness, and you know, and that is a thing. And it's amazing how you know, feminism has had such an amazing run, and how feminism plays into male homelessness, because the feminist narrative where every man's a predator or a paycheck, or only a predator and a paycheck, that feminist narrative has entered the legal system. And you know, men lose families in custody disputes. We can lose businesses. And I lost a mortgage company. I had a really good run for 2 years, and you know, truth be told, you know, I was done with it. I was done with finance. I mean, I'm good at finance. I'm good with numbers, but my passion is people. And my passion is Jesus and consciousness and wabi-sabi, and how that tree will not be the same way. So impermanence, and how even this YouTube channel, one of the things I've tried to do in this channel is profile the journey, my journey, for all kinds of reasons. Number one is I believe the homeless narrative is important, and I'm probably the most outspoken homeless person on the planet, speaking to men's rights and speaking to the importance of a legal system that truly legally says all lives matter. And sometimes, you know, we like to put those slogans on Facebook, but unless we're talking about legal reform, and unless laws are passed and bad cops are dealt with, and bad judges are sanctioned or disbarred. And when was the last time you read an article about a bad judge? But there are bad judges. I could give you a couple examples right here, but this is not so much, the legal aspect of homelessness. This is the human aspect of ravens and who are the most vulnerable people in our community. And do we even know their stories? Or do they just die and pass away? And they're never to really be heard from, and their stories aren't told. Well, on this journey of ravenship or homelessness, man, I've learned so many things, and I want to share those things with you or whoever's watching this YouTube channel. I did my demographics yesterday. You can watch that, where 70% of my traffic is domestic and 30% is international. And but this has been my own video vlog of ravenship, black and white photography, and maybe kind of even a near-death experience in the aspect of just some things that when you become truly, truly vulnerable, the things that start happening in your life and how spiritually it's changed me and politically. And I think homelessness should affect you. Homelessness should impact you. You change after homelessness, death, burial, resurrection, and how the modern day church can't even get behind homelessness because it speaks to death. It speaks to, you got to have death before you have resurrection. And impermanence, wabi sabi is like Chapman Hill. See it over my left. I learned to ski there 2 years ago. There was a season in my life that I didn't ski at all. And this year I didn't ski, not because I wasn't here. It's because, we just really haven't had much of a snow. This is February. Maybe I should make a documentary about climate change and how it's affected even the Four Corners. And how, remember, we lost a river, and nobody talks about that except the geese and the goose and the Jonathan Fibonojjis. Who's talking about the Silverton spill and how we lost a river? And is that causation or correlation? And how when we fuck with rivers, how does that change? And what's the half-life of this shit going on? And who is responsible for that? And we need to start having honest conversations about our government and our legal system. And that's just raging Cajun. Impermanence. Impermanence. It simply means things fade to dark. Today I was reading when I was at Starbucks, and I just went in there because, believe it or not, Starbucks is a corporate homeless shelter. I know they don't. That's not their mission, but if you look at the raw numbers, homelessness in Starbucks, there's a lot of people sitting in a Starbucks right now just because it's warm. And how even if we just had some corporate push with solving homelessness on a national level, what if Starbucks or Howard Schultz? In fact, email him or tweet him or forward this video to him. Howard Schultz, imagine just the power of Fibonojji talking to Howard Schultz and saying, hey, turn 50% of your inner city Starbucks, 50% of them, turn them into kind of a homeless, friendly, 24-hour, 48-hour, 4-hour safe house that all lives matter. Imagine the power of Howard Schultz just turning 25,000 of his coffee houses that are already being used by homeless people for Wi-Fi, to check for jobs. Imagine that power. Well, I'm not Howard Schultz. I could tweet him, and I will, and I encourage you to do it too. You can email me too, americano417@gmail.com. It's my favorite coffee in the whole world. In fact, next time you're at Starbucks, order an Americano and give a homeless person $4.17. Holla. Or you can email me, Jonathan Fibonojji. Fades to black. One more time, thank you for taking this journey with me. So whose life are you improving? Whose life? Remember back at the UCLA days when I was there and I was vlogging from UCLA? Remember those videos when I was teaching just for those 2 weeks? Jackie Robinson's quote says, the only real value humans have is their value to each other. And who are you feeding? Feed my sheep. Jesus' teachings are so homeless-centric and raven-centric. He was speaking to the vulnerable, the most vulnerable, the powerless. Come unto me. Fibonojji. John Fibonojji is out. Thank you for taking this journey with me.